Hello and welcome to the Unique LE Debate Youth Cup 2021. Thank you to all the lecturers, students, and supporters for being here today. My name is Humaira, and I will be your chairperson and timekeeper for this session. Today's session will be adjudicated by Mrs. Lauren, Ali Shazwan, and Lukman Akil. We are going to start with the fourth round of the preliminary rounds by reading the motion. The motion for this debate is this House believes that developing nations should heavily incentivize its students to pursue STEM subjects, for example, engineering, computer science in tertiary education, even at the expense of a decline in humanities courses, for example, literature, arts, and philosophy. The members of the government side representing Unique RCMP are Maisara as the Prime Minister, Nadia as the Deputy Prime Minister, Shahira as the Government Whip, and the reply speech from the government side will be given by Nadia. The members of the opposition side representing Unique LMIIT are Alif as leader of opposition, Fatin as the deputy leader of opposition, and Batrisha as the opposition whip. The reply speech from the opposition side will be given by Alif. Alright, before we will begin, I will briefly explain the rules. Each of the main speeches is 7 minutes long. The first and last minute of each of these speeches is known as protected times, which means that no points of information or POI may be asked by the opposing bench. The reply speeches are 4 minutes long and are entirely protected from POIs. As the timekeeper, I will mark the opening and closing of protected time with a single blank once at 1 minute and a second time at 6 minutes. I will also indicate that a speaker's time is up with a double bank. If a speaker continues for a further 15 seconds, the indicator will start with a triple bank and thereafter continuously until the speaker stops. The indicator for the reply speech will start as single bank at 3rd minute, double bank on 4th minute. If the speaker continues for a further 15 seconds, the indicators will start with a triple bank and thereafter continuously until the speaker stops. Could I also politely ask the phone be switches off for the duration of each debate? If you wish to use your phone, please mute your mic and switch off your video to respect the ongoing session. Participants, you will have a 10-minute grace period if you are disconnected. Please continue your speech during that period. We would move on to the next speaker if you fail to reconnect after the grace period. Alright, so without further ado, please join me in welcoming the first speaker of the debate, the Prime Minister, to the floor to open the debate.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in the sense of motion today, we are government side would like to divide. We are government side would like to. We are government side. We like to go. We government side. We like to. We're government side would like to motivate. Dia. Sorry. Tak boleh buka kamera. We are government side would like to we are government side would like to talk about this motion as how why we need to pursue more students to take a STEM subject, as we know that STEM subject people students that graduate on STEM subject will help in development countries. So development country is when we are trying to develop in one places, like we can see right now in India. In India, we can see that in that country there's more like a rural place, rurals that can't get in any water, any electricity, and everything. So we can see that from that we can see that this country is trying to develop, and this country trying to standardize that all people in that country, even in rural area, even though in a city, can get the same sources that they need. So so we can see that graduated that pursue the STEM subject will have better in development country than humanitarian graduate or everything. Yes, we can see that true humanitarian is needed in our country, but STEM subject the we can see but STEM subjects like graduated that have that study on computer science of engineering course is will have better in development country. So what we are going to debate today with is why it is vital for a developing country need more STEM graduates. This is because we can see that this is because that and engineering and we can see that in the sense of motion today that in the sense of motion today that people that graduated in STEM we graduated in the engineering and computer science that is the top career. This is top career that we need in our country. The top courses that we need to have in our development country. So because the current successful country the both country that's which is have their own technology also like Samsung and everything. So we can see that this kind of development country will have in this kind of computer science engineering will have in development country, which is will have in not only in based on our economy, but this is we can see that the technology that we need in our daily life right now in our era right now. So what the development country needed is more infrastructure in the transporting. So in creating these like yes. So okay, so here I want to characterize my my argument my speech today, which is from we will start from school. How we want to promote how we want to heavily how we want to even heavily how we want to heavily promote this kind of motion today, which is we firstly we can we will start from the school. We will start from the school, which is if from school we promote this STEM subject, which is provide scholarship with the STEM subject. We can tell students that okay, this STEM subject is better for your career. This STEM subject is really help for develop our country. They will contribute more contribute more to your country. So means that this STEM subject actually really contribute to their country with their studies. So that's from the school. So the next stage, which is how we can how we can see that this leadership and the new government about to have the poverty or
I'm sorry, my PM are actually they're having internet difficulty. He's out right now. He's not in the meeting right now.
Alright, I will give
She's
grace
at
period
the
for 10
backstage.
minutes. Is it okay?
Yeah, yeah. Also, can like actually she has stopped like a minute ago. The speech
Alright, sure.
actually. All right. Sorry, the chairperson. Can like my PM talk to my microphone?
Yeah, yeah,
Is
sure,
it
sure,
possible?
sure.
All right. Wait
Wait,
a minute.
wait. I have to ask the educators. Is it okay, Mrs. Lauren? Is it okay if the Prime Minister want to use the government whips?
hello, do you guys hear me?
Yeah, yes, yes, we can hear you. Wait, I asked the. I get the confirmation from the educators. I hope.
Yeah, because actually I gonna call my PM and then she's just talk through my phone so that you can hear from me. You get it?
Alright, sure.
Not me talking, but she will be the one who talk. Is it
Alright,
okay that way?
I think it will be no problem. Okay, you guys can proceed.
All right, thank you. Mike, can okay, I will continue my speech here. All right, wait. Can you guys hear it clearly?
Yes, yes.
All right, great. Okay, I will continue my speech. Just like I just publicized that they want to mention that we will provide government sites to all the people, to all the people to all the people which is in development country which is better when the people when the students that pursue in computer science subject. So you can see that share that you can just talk. Okay. Okay. So you can see that this when we pursue the engineering and computer science surely that we have to develop our country so well. So so for to summarize all my speech here, once the government sites government sites really wanted all students to pursue the STEM subject because it really helps to have a better country in the future. Thank you.
Alright. Okay, wait, hold on. Alright, so thank you for that speech. Now, please welcome the first speaker of the opposition, the leader of opposition, to open the case for their side.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I will start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to the chairperson. So today our motion is this House belief that developing nations should heavily incentivize its students to pursue STEM subjects in tertiary education, even at the expense of the decline of in humanities courses. So we on the opposition side oppose this motion because based on our stance is humanity course is equally important to STEM courses. And today we would like the government to prove to us, to prove to this hall and explain how if the developing nation heavily incentivize its student to pursue STEM subject, it will give a benefit to the countries. So straight to my rebuttal. Firstly, what the Prime Minister spoke just now is not true. So I want you to clarify what is the connection between rural part in India with STEM subject. I don't see how the correlation between the rural part in India with STEM subject. Secondly, we believe that a STEM subject and art subject should work hand in hand, building the nation. We do not want to ignore art subject. We value it as it is important as the STEM subject. Thirdly, they say Korea, South Korea, a country that heavily incentivize students to pursue STEM. It is not true because STEM and arts are developed together in Korea. You can see the example how the music and drama, television industry are growing further with their STEM field. So we believe that art must not left behind. Government must promote STEM and art. And fourthly, Prime Minister spoke about STEM art is not important. So by saying that it is the discrimination for art student. So it will create an sentiment that art subject is not really important as STEM is really important and art should be left behind. So no student should pursue their studies in art. So on the opposition side, we want they to provide us a clear definition on how they should heavily incentivize its student to pursue STEM. In what way? Then we ask them to prove why this thing the motion bring a benefit to a country, show us how, and explain to us how a course is chosen during tertiary education. And lastly, Prime Minister spoke about secondary education. So today we are talking about tertiary education, not secondary education. Tertiary education, for example, universities, polytechnic, and college, and so on. We do not want to talk about secondary education today. We talk about tertiary education. How the government, developing nation should heavily incentivize its students to pursue STEM in tertiary education. That should be clear. So straight to my argument. First point is we believe that about freedom of education. So education should be a freedom. Student knows what they are capable of. Okay, let's say you want to force heavily incentivize student to pursue STEM, even if they cannot do it. Isn't it a waste of time, a waste of resource to because we know that STEM is uh sorry, STEM is usually work further is develop more and more new technologies, new digital technologies come apart. So it cost us a lot of money. So isn't that a waste of resources? So it is the right of the student to be educated without being impeded by a state nation. So we believe that the student should choose what they want to study freely. Okay, let's same with I just talk about let's say you are a student interested in politics or anthropology, then the government force you to study engineering, science, computer, and so on. So isn't it a waste of time, a waste of resources, and somehow it will give effect to their mental health. Their mental health will deteriorate. So we do not want this thing to happen in our nations. So government side said they want to enforce STEM. We at the opposition celebrate diversity. So we believe that STEM and arts both provide equal opportunities for students. So we believe we need diversity in education. We do not want to create a generation that heavily focuses on STEM. We want to create a balanced education. Let's say a generation who knew about engineering and they knew about arts, politics, and find economics. So we want to create them hand in hand. So we say STEM and art should be developed hand in hand, should be developed together, not being arts course is being ignored by the government. So we do not say that STEM is not important, but they should not heavily incentivize. They should not force the student to take STEM in their tertiary education. It is up to the student what they want to continue in their tertiary educations. So art field also have potential to expand. There's a lot of creative writing, art fair. So it provide equal opportunity just as this STEM students. So we believe that education is a path of multiple destinies. So you give the student many possibility to explore themselves, to learn about what they want, even if arts or STEM. So by doing this, you create a balanced generation in both STEM and art field. So we believe on the opposition side, art and STEM should walk hand in hand. We upholding the principle that education is a freedom for everyone. So I think that's all from me. So today our motion is this house belief that a developing nation should heavily incentivize its students to pursue STEM subject in tertiary education, even at the expense of decline in humanities courses. Based on our stance, humanity course is equally important to the STEM. Choose wisely, choose opposition. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I would like to thank the speaker for their remarks and welcome the second speaker. Sorry, I would like to welcome the second speaker of the government, the Deputy Prime Minister, to continue the case for their side.
Am I audible?
Yes, Nadia.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the motion today is the House belief that developing nation should heavily incentivize its students to pursue STEM subjects in tertiary education, even at the expense or decline in humanities courses. First of all, I'm going to repeat the question that my Prime Minister had asked. What the developing country needs? It needs more infrastructure. It needs more infrastructure in transportation, in creating their own technology. Because okay, look at the developed nations out there, such as from what my prime minister said, USA, South Korea. They are the developed nations. They thrive because of their infrastructures. They thrive because of their knowledge in technologies. So speak. She also speak about the rural area. Rural area. In developing countries, they don't have water or source of electricity. This is why infrastructures is needed in developing country needs. In developing nations. So my prime minister also said that the mechanism how we can apply this motion is that from uh, from the beginning of the school, we as government promote or do talk about the STEM course and what the future brings if you choose STEM course. And the government will also provide more scholarships to these students to help the vulnerable and students that live in poverty to actually bring themselves up using the STEM courses. And last but not least, the government can collab with the private sector to give a scholarship and a working contract to these students who successfully graduate from this STEM degree and secure and they're gonna have secure work after graduates. So and then looking back what the leader of opposition had said. She said that she said okay, first of all I'm gonna highlight this motion said that heavily incentivize its students. We don't force them. We encourage them, we support them, heavily encourage them to take STEM students. Because the job market is higher and STEM related jobs are needed everywhere and for and very vital for developing countries. So, and he also said that about our example as South Korea, because South Korea, look at South Korea, they have equal humanities course to compared to their STEM courses. But then, because South Korea is already a developed nation, that is why we need to heavily incentivize this motion, because to develop a country you need to actually prioritize the STEM courses more, so that after the developed nations, after the nations develop, you can focus on these humanities courses. Okay. First of all, why is STEM subjects is vital in developing countries? Like I said before, for infrastructures, because infrastructures improve the quality of life. Because
PLI.
wait, okay, because in this infrastructure, this transportation, communication, when through this STEM subject, we can provide better transportation, better communication. Look at Japan; it is a developed nations. Look at how its twins work. Look how fast their communication thing works. It's also helped with their education. When we provide a good infrastructure, it somehow will improve their quality of life. They can live more comfortably. They can live healthily. They can actually use this infrastructure better to actually uplift their life, to actually provide stable, to actually provide stable jobs and works. Other than that,
PLI.
yes.
So when you're saying that this will increase infrastructure and all that stuff, please show me the relationship between how incentivizing STEM subjects more can make sure that there are more infrastructures. Please clarify.
Okay. As we all know, some subjects are consist of engineering, IT, science, computer. So increase the infrastructure. It makes the infrastructure better, because this engineering student gonna create more technologies. Gonna create more technologies that can actually help in communication, in transportation, because that is their job, that is their expertise. But then without, so that we need more students like this. So I need to focus on my other argument, which is why we need to prioritize these STEM subjects more in developing countries, developing nations, because it is what we needed now. The developing nation need to develop, but then, so to develop, they need new technology, new innovation. They need a better innovation, better technology to actually develop to a better country, to actually improve themselves to become a developed nation, because they are developing. So we prioritize STEM graduates because it was what we need now to move forward. Compared to humanitarian graduates that are not needed now to actually, because they don't give us the direct positive impact towards the developing country. They don't actually directly develop the country compared to the same graduates. So other than that, it can also decrease poverty and creating more stable jobs. Best case scenario is, if we proceed with the motion, is that our country can be more developed, and we can also abolish rich become the richer and poor become poorer, and the people in the country, this is the most important one, is that they can live healthy and comfortably, because their countries are developing. Thank you. I rest my case.
Alright, I'd like to thank the speaker for their remarks and welcome the second speaker of the opposition to give their speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me start this off by summarizing the case of the government side. Their case is very simple. It's all about technologies, right? Like they say, like from the first speaker to the second speaker, they are all just saying the same thing basically. Like they are telling us about how the developing nation needs more transportation, needs more advanced technologies in order to help them develop more better. But in our side, we believe that that is not the only thing that constitute the element for you to create a, a better developed nation. On our side, we believe that in order for you to create a in, we believe that developing nation, yes, they should, yes, we should care about STEM subjects, but also STEM subjects and humanity courses should go linearly. Like we should go hand in hand together in order for us to maximize, in order for us to create a better developed nation. Let me tell you why. But first, some rebuttals, right? So they say so. The first thing is the problem is the first speaker didn't even clarify the phrase decline at the expense of decline in humanities courses, right? So we are quite confused on how they are going to decline humanity courses. Are they going to like totally eliminate these courses from tertiary education, or are they going to like reduce the amount of courses in tertiary education? That is their first mistake. They never clarified in the first place. Second thing is they say that their mechanism for heavily incentivized is simple. They are going to just promote this STEM subject from school level. This is actually cannot be categorized as heavily incentivized. Why? Because the first thing is we are already promoting STEM subjects in our school right now, right? We already have this kind of alternative. So we think that by the word heavily incentivized, you must show like a different method with a much more effort in it to like incentivize this student to be more into STEM subjects, right? So and the third thing is like when they keep bringing up about how humanities courses graduates cannot like directly impact the nation in a developing nation. Ladies and gentlemen, indirectly impact, but still they still have potential to give good impacts, right? Like even if in not indirectly, but they still help, they still contribute in developing our nation. So I think that is enough to prove that why humanities
Right.
courses and also STEM subject should go linearly. Okay, and then they keep on bringing like and then moving on to my arguments. So in my arguments, I'm going to tell you how by making STEM subjects and humanity course it, how, on how on how when we on why we should not heavily incentivize STEM subjects, because STEM subjects and humanity courses is equally important in order for us to achieve to a, in a developing nation. But before this, yes, I take any POI, if any.
What does humanitarian subject give to give? I'm sorry, it's my right. What does the humanitarian subject actually can give benefit to the develop of the developing country directly? What does it do?
Okay, you said it yourself when you were talking about South Korea, how they are already developed, right? How they are already developed because they enhance their art subject. Art is under humanitarian courses, right? They so that from there is like a huge improvement in production, like drama, musical, and more. That's how it will impact a developing nation as well. Okay, so moving on to my argument on how when we move both of these elements, STEM and humanity courses, we will create a more balanced individual. Hence, it will help in developing our country better, right? Okay, so first analysis. I'm going to tell you how why STEM subject and humanity courses subject are equally important. Okay, so for STEM subject, we do admit that it involves like programming, engineering that will help in building infrastructures in our country, right? But also at the same time, we have to acknowledge what's under humanity courses that makes them equally important to STEM subject. First off, arts, right? So for them to say that humanities courses doesn't like directly impact the countries is actually like indirectly downgrading the subject because arts itself is divided into a lot of like factors like we have animation, we have design, we have production like the one I mentioned earlier about how South Korea developed their country. And then why do I say that both of this is equally important? Because both of these elements equal potential have equal potential in the industry. Like STEM subject, it have potential to like I have in technologies, and also in humanity courses, it have potential in helping other sectors like art, like production and more. And how it will impact the nation, right? So first off, we believe that it will help in the enhancement of every sector in the nation, like not just about technologies but also other sectors. And when it like enhance every sector, then it will uh automatically have more careers opportunities, like more careers opportunities can be fulfilled, hence can also reduce poverty, right? Like they are talking about. And then we can maximize the participation of people in that particular developing nation. Why? Because there are a lot of skills now. There are lots of careers, room for expansion in every sector. Hence why maximized participation can be reached. And then when every sector is progressive, logically, then when every sector is progressive, then yes, the country will be well developed, just like what we want to achieve. With that, I've been prouder to oppose. Thank you.
Alright, now let us welcome the government whip to summarize the debate for the government side.
All right, so thank you. So I would like my POI to be, you just open your mic and ask me POI. So start in 3, 2, 1. So ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I would like to clarify to the opposition side that a developing country is a different thing. Developed country, for example, USA and South Korea and Japan. Developed country is India, Malaysia, and those countries the country that do not develop into a developed country. Before you become a developed country, you become a developing country first, which you are on your way to go to developed country. So that's why we give example of South Korea and USA. So why is this is vital? Because you see in USA, right, they build their own technology. In Japan, they have good train, they good transportation. This is the infrastructure that we need that came from our engineer, that came from our computer science students, that came from our media, for example, media students that create a train example. So that is what developing country need. So that is what my prime minister are trying to tell you guys. What is developing country need actually? This developing country needs a good infrastructure, good communication in order to become a developed country. So that is what the opposition failed to tell to us. And in developing country,
Right.
the only thing that we need to improve, right, in developing country, I'm sorry, wait a minute, developing country that we need to improve, right, in developing country is we need to actually provide these good basic needs that a country need. As you say, in South Korea right now, they already become a developed country, which they can expand more in literature, like you say, a drama and everything. But before they become developed country, their drama is not so famous because they're not focusing on that. They're focusing on how they want to become a developed country, which the infrastructure, the technology. So that's why we give this example to you guys and hope that's clarified things. And they talk about we fail to prove. Well, you guys fail to prove. Why is it humanitarian needed for a country to stay to become a developed country? Because you guys seem to like confuse developed country and developed country. All right. So let me summarize. So before I summarize my case, yes, the POI. and PI1, PI2, PI3. No PI. All right, great. So summary. So is it what does my teammate says in today's debate? Okay, first and foremost, what they say is what actually why are we going to do it today? We prove to you the two questions that we need to answer, burden of proof that we, the government side, need to prove. First, why is it vital for developing country, especially developing country, to have more STEM graduates, more than humanitarian graduates? And second, why we need to prioritize STEM graduates more than humanitarian graduates? So first, we tell you guys the current status quo right now. The current status quo, right? We need more STEM graduate in order for developing country to develop more, because that's what developing country need, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine our vulnerable stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. They don't have electric source, they don't have water source, so how they don't have transportation. So how does we actually want to actually give this provide to them a better condition of their life? First is infrastructure. This is very, very important. So like we say right now, we have to give this heavily incentivize some graduate, because we need this a source of people to actually do this thing, because they are our future, ladies and gentlemen. We need more engineer. We need more. This developing country need more engineer. This developing country need more computer sciences, because this is what the developing country needs, ladies and gentlemen. So second, we tell you guys what they need. The developing country needs in more infrastructure and transportation in creating the technology. Look at USA, ladies and gentlemen. Look at South Korea. They have a big company that sells technology, that sells train. So that's why they become one of the developed country in the world. Top 5 developed country in the world, ladies and gentlemen. And then speak about the rural area, the vulnerable stakeholder, I said that now. And the communication also very, very important in order for a developed country to become a developed country. And then the mechanism we tell to you. So why does will the LO say? So why does we need to start from school? Because imagine if from school you don't have the exposure of the goodness of this STEM subject, right? How will you choose this STEM subject to become your tertiary education? So that's why we as a government want to aggressively promote this thing in the school. So they say it already promote. Well, is it working? No, right? So that's why we want to more aggressive promote this thing in our school. Wait a minute. And then the government also, we as a government will provide many scholarships that can help this student to actually further their study. Because you see, a lot of majority of students in our country, right, in the developing country, like developed country, they do not have that. If they know they have a scholarship on STEM study, right? They will go to there. You know why? Because that is how people mind think. Because when you pay someone to actually get this out, to you imagine like the tuition fees for this subject is very expensive. So imagine if government gives scholarship to this student, right? They want to pursue that, because majority of students you can see, they don't know what they want to pursue. So imagine if you prepare a scholarship for them, they will definitely go to that, because that is what our people mindset right now, ladies and gentlemen. In second, so how can we actually secure their place to become in the private sector? So like my PM and DPM say, we the government side will actually collect the private sector to give scholarship and also a working contract. Meaning that after they're done with their degree, example, they will directly work to that company, so that our company, so that this private sector, right, or this our government sector will actually can get this student that can get degree of this engineering or something, so they can work there. So imagine if we provide this contract working for them, right? No one will reject that, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why this mechanism will definitely promote everybody, the student especially, to actually move on to the STEM subject, because we believe these 3 things, right, the basic need that people need, and people will definitely go there. And then why is it better than country to have more STEM students? Like I said, infrastructure, transportation, communication, these 3 are the basic needs that we need to actually focus more in different country. We don't want to focus into K-drama. We don't want to focus about movie, because that's not important in different country. The important infrastructure, the basic need, the water, the electricity. So that's what we try to secure in this different country. And the last one, why we need to prioritize STEM graduate more than humanitarian graduate? Because this STEM graduate provide direct positive impact to different country. And I asked your DLO, right? And she doesn't answer my question. She answer my question based on what my based on South Korea example, because example is not an agreement, so we will not accepted that. So the humanitarian graduate, until the end of the DLO speech, right, they failed to tell us why does humanitarian graduate actually important in developing country, because we believe in developing country we need to focus more infrastructure, communication, the basic needs that people need. And the last one, the best case scenario can happen, our country can be more developed quicker faster. So don't have poverty anymore. More quicker, more faster. There poverty and more. No one will, no rich become richer or poorer become poorer. Everyone is will be happy in a country, and the country can develop more. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that if you want to live in a better world, please stand with the government side, because opposition side just babbling about how other things important, but they have to focus on the main thing that important is to this debate. All right. So with that, I raise my case. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Government Whip. Now, please welcome the opposition whip to sum up for the opposition team.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Um, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, here I would like to say, first and foremost, the government and opposition are both striving to get the same thing, which is a developed country. But one thing that government is actually neglecting here is how it actually impacts on the student's life. Why I see this? One thing to mention: when you do incentivization and aggressive at that point, where you actually do a discrimination towards one subject to another subject, you're actually making a student to make a biased decision, or even what we can say, the student is being manipulated that way. Because why? Let me give you a situation. If I say I'm a student who's actually passionate in arts, but because of my family background, who doesn't have enough money to go into these humanitarian courses, because they don't get more incentivization from
Yeah,
the
I.
government, I have to you can yeah, sorry. So you because of that, I have to go into STEM subjects, and in the end, I'm not that interested into STEM subjects, and my performance is not even that good when I do my careers. So in the end of the day, what is important is how you is how you ensure that the students or graduates who take up the course actually give an effect in later on, not just give a half-ass effect where the government have already given more and more resources on, as said by Prime Minister. So other than that, I
Yeah,
would like to
I.
say that sorry, no. Okay, so one thing that I would like to give is the clash that is happening in our debate. One is about, okay, the main thing: a developing country needs to be developed. Yes, we stand by that. We need development, but in right here in our status quo, we not we don't disagree to the fact that STEM students are important in our lives, but in the fact that you have to incentivize and give an equal opportunity to the student to choose what they want in the end is not what we stand for. Yes, sure, you can have more infrastructure, you can have more things, but we tell you on our side, we still give the same amount. We give infrastructure because there's still going to be STEM students in the end of the day. But what we were trying to say is that the student is free. We hold by the principle that the student has the freedom to choose, not being like clouded with thoughts of how, oh, if I go with this with STEM, I get a scholarship, my life will be more easier, rather than the fact that we prioritize on the potential of a student that can give, which potential in either way, in a STEM or even a humanitarian course, can give good impact to the world and also develop the country. Okay, so moving on to the another clash where on our side, the opposition is trying to give out how students have the freedom to choose in the end of the day. Because in the end, if we look, like I gave a situation before on how the student was manipulated or even forced to go into this STEM subject because of the fact that they need it in this desperate measure. In the end of the day, they might even not have good performance. They might drop out at the end after they get what they want. So I'm trying to, we on the opposition side don't want this to occur. We want to make sure that the students, in the end of the day, continue their studies, have a passion into what they're doing, and strive in the job performance, making a better and developed firm, which can also help in the country. And let me remind you guys, okay, humanitarian resources, okay, my first speaker and my second speaker have been talking about arts on all this stuff, but we also have to remember that in humanitarian resources we have finance, we have economy. So these also, as you can see, they're essential in a developing country, because in the fact that first we have to take care of the social life, a stable social life, a stable politics, and a stable
Yeah,
economic
I.
growth. No, thank you. So the government has been able to touch only on the infrastructure of how these things are going to go. But in the end of the day, like my first speaker said, the risk of a student to have mental have like a pressure or even mental illness because of the fact that they're not doing what they want can cause more damage than good in the job performance, like I said, and even in their daily life. So I think opposition here are trying to cater not only to the uh, to the to the nation, but also to how a social life of the worker that is going to help the nation in the end of the day is going to be. Okay, so what I would like to say on our side is that on opposition side, we give the opportunity to the students if they want to go into STEM subject, go fine by them. But we also give the same amount of benefits if they want to go into humanitarian resources. It's also good because in the end of the day, they both give benefits into the world. Yes, developing countries need infrastructure, but that is only one part of how developed countries actually work. You need to make sure that people from the poverty do not stay in the poverty. Okay, so how does opposition also curb this problem is because of the fact how government side can be problematic in this issue is because, like I said, if a student doesn't even want to do STEM subjects, although they are incentivized, they don't want it. Some people might really want to go to STEM, but you have to also think of students who don't even go to school. They drop out. So what happens to them? The cycle of poverty is going to be never ending. And to the fact that I would like to say that on our side, where we let the freedom go, where students will be encouraged to do what they want and further their studies. So I see that this is a way for opposition to encouraging, incentivizing students to actually go with their passion into having a better job performance in the economy. Before that, I would like to, any POI? No? Okay. So, moving on to how
Sorry,
government side.
yes.
Yes.
Alright.
No.
So
Sorry.
your page, no PI.
It's
Okay.
already ended. Yeah. Sorry. So like on the government side, what they're trying to, what they said is that they're going to focus more on the STEM subjects and all that stuff. But in the end, they never shown that how this injustice, how they are going to neglect the students who are in the art subjects because in the end of the day, like my prime minister and my deputy said, both can give the uh, the amount of benefit that a developed country needs. And as I said, a job performance is also important in making a developed country. So I think that through the opposition giving the freedom for the students to give to do what they want, and even with this freedom, encouraging for students to become holistic, being both good in STEM and also humanitarian resources, we can ensure you that students can have a better life, a social life. Our country will also be developed, and students will have. Sorry, the firm can also have good job performance. Thank you. I've been never happy to oppose. Thank you.
All right. I would like to thank the speakers for all their speeches. Now, let's give the government and opposition sides 5 minutes to prepare for the reply speech. Please be aware that the reply speech will be for 4 minutes and no POI is allowed. Alright, 5 minutes is up. Now let us welcome the representative from the opposition side for the reply speech.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to the chairperson. So today our motion is this House believe that developing nation should heavily incentivize its students to pursue STEM subject in tertiary education, even at the expense of decline in humanities courses. So we on the opposition side strongly reject these motions based on our stance that humanity courses is equally important to STEM. So go back to my first argument is about freedom of education. So we know that education should be a freedom. Student knows what they are capable of. Thus, let them choose whatever they want to pursue. Thus, we cannot force them to pursue the study in tertiary education in STEM, and we does not encourage them to pursue their studies in art. We do not say that. We cannot do that because it is the right of the student to be educated without being imposed by anybody, any state nation, any state nation. Sorry. So we believe on the opposition side that we need diversity in education. We do not want to create a generation that heavily focuses on STEM. We want to create a balanced education. We do not say that STEM is not important, but it is should not be heavily incentivized. So humanities field also have potential to expand, even though humanities courses also an important field for developing nation are accountings, finance, economics. This is crucial courses in order to develop a country become a socially economically stable country, developed country. So we believe that on the opposition side, that education is a path of multiple destinies. So what government should do is they give students many possibility. They should give students many possibility to explore themselves, not control them, encourage them to only pursue their study in STEM, discourage them to pursue their study in humanity courses. So by doing this, if we open a lot of possibility to us for students to explore themselves, you create a balanced generation in both STEM and humanities field. So human and STEM should walk hand in hand equally to move equally together uh, in order to develop a country. We upholding the principle that education is a freedom for everyone. So second point is more balanced individual. So STEM and humanities is equally important. We should not say, oh, humanities because it does not have any benefit to the country. It is does not important. It is actually important and crucial as well as STEMs. So we believe that if we encourage the students to choose whatever they want to study, they have equal potential in the industry, thus enhance every sector in the country and maximize the participation of people. So we believe that STEM and humanities should walk hand in hand. We concern for every stakeholders, the student. It is their future. They want to study. They after they have finished their study, they must contribute to the nations. It is their choice. We do not want to prioritize either one. We want both STEM and humanities to move equally, work hand in hand. Hence, every sector can be enhanced. So, more progressive sectors equal to economic growth, equal to help to develop nation. So, this is crucial step in order to develop a nations. So, today the government side is really problematic in this side. So, they actually should let the student choose what they want to study. Developed countries go by socially, politically, and economically, but the government side only care about the economic only. So we on the opposition side oppose this motion based on our stance that humanity cost is equally important to STEM. Choose wisely, choose opposition. Thank you.
Thank you for the speech. Now, let us welcome the last speaker for today's debate to give the reply speech for the government side.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor. Okay, first of all, I would like to ask everyone in here, is it your passion or your livelihood are more important? We in the government believe that in developing nations, livelihood is more important because the stakeholder in these developing nations, they wake up every morning thinking how to survive. So we have to save the people. That's why we from the government willing to bite the bullet for our country to move forward, because passion can be developed. Secondly, I would like to highlight that we from the government are not forcing. We want to have heavily incentivized. It's not forcing. Which part of our speech that say that we force these students to choose STEM subjects? And most importantly, we recognize that STEM subjects are hot market plus needed as the world evolves. At the end of the day, this can decrease poverty through creating more jobs opportunities, because as the world evolves, more inventions are done. New technologies are introduced under the STEM subjects. So that's why this graduate won't have any problem to survive in the future. Next, now, in the current status quo, humanitarian is not important for country to develop. That's why we don't want to prioritize humanitarian. Please understand that opposition. Open your eyes, see which one is more important. And the opposition also failed to tell us how does humanitarian subject can help the developing country to develop more. What they did is only assuming, or is only assuming. They also fail to prove to us how does STEM subjects stand equally to humanitarian subjects in sense of developing country to develop. So today we from the government side only tell you what a developing country needs, which is infrastructure, a better way of communication, a better way of transportation, a better way to actually improve their life, to get efficient water, to get their basic needs complete, to get their basic needs complete. We also tell you guys about the mechanism that we want to apply in this motion, which is we will promote the STEM subjects, heavily promotes the STEM subjects in school, and also provide more scholarships to the STEM subjects. Student, and the government will also wait. The government will also collaborate with the private sector with the company to actually encourage the students to take STEM courses. So, but why did we do this? Why is it better for the developing country to have more STEM graduates? Because STEM graduates are needed to develop the country. Because we need new innovation, we need new technologies, we need better infrastructure, we need a better way of communication to actually develop the country, to actually bring the country hand to hand to other developed nations out there. And why we need to prioritize STEM graduates than humanitarian graduates? Because STEM graduates are needed for the country to move forward. Because without it, we can't actually move. Because without STEM graduates, we can't move forward. So please, if you want to live in a better world, please stand with. Okay. Humanitarian subject is wait. Humanitarian subject is not important now in in developing in the country, in the current status quo. So later when the country develops, then we can prioritize in the humanitarian causes. So please, if you want to live in a better world, please stand with us, because we understand and cater the problem that exists in the developing country better. With that, I raise my case. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the reply speech. With that, the debate for this round has ended. Please be informed that this is a silent round, thus no result will be announced now. The adjudicators may move to your respective room. Participants, you may move to the main room for further instruction. Thank you to everyone for joining this session.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a great debate. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.